in my mind, that's the company I want to keep. And that's kind of what I tell students. Find who your heroes are.
Gary's made an impact in ways that we can see and that I think most of us will never fully even appreciate because it just permeates who we are today.
He is passionate and disciplined. He's always working. He's always wanting to be working.
He seems omnipotent. He knows so much things about art and techniques and artists and paintings, and I hope one day that I can be that way too.
And you want to be part of that dialogue. You want to, at the end, be a voice in that dialogue, a kind of a worthy voice. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, born in the mid-20th century, 1952 to be precise. My dad was a florist, which may be where some of my aesthetic inclination comes from. I used to watch him at work do flower arrangements, and he dealt with composition and color and texture and all the kind of things that artists deal with. And I went to college at Brooklyn College in New York, part of the City University, New York. When I got to college, I was going into biology. I wanted to be a marine biologist, and I kind of realized I'm not going to make it through this because there was a lot of science and math, the math was not my strong suit. And I realized, you know what, I'm going to do what I really love to do. And so I threw myself into the art program at Brooklyn College. I took painting classes, photography classes, printmaking classes. But once I got my hands into the 3D, I knew this is home. I drove a cab 6 months before I left. And I don't know how much detail you want, but in doing so, I was held up near the Manhattan Bridge, which connects Brooklyn to Manhattan, held up and shot, and took a bullet in the butt, and it went through my leg, and I could feel the bullet with my finger on my inner thigh. I wound up spending 3-4 days in the hospital. Nothing vital was hit, and that was sort of my goodbye to New York City. I knew that in January I was going to be moving up to Connecticut to work for my mentor. He's a guy named Philip Grousman. I met him at Skowhegan School of Painting and Sculpture, which is in Maine. It's a fairly elite school. They take 60 students a year. And one of my sculpture professors in college recommended me, and I wound up going there on a scholarship, and I wound up being accepted there, and that's where I met Philip Grousman. He was one of the instructors there. And basically, I didn't really know much about sculpture or what I was doing, but he sort of guided me through a carving, and he saw that I was sort of able to have the stick-with-itness that sculpture takes. Carving it, honing it, sanding it, filing it, doing everything that needs to be done. And then he offered me a position working for him as an assistant. I wound up spending 10 years there. So Phil really he really taught me pretty much everything I know. I owe it all to Phil, really. I never had any idea about teaching when I was, an undergraduate and a young person. Teaching was not something on my radar. I didn't know what I was going to do, frankly. I was working for Phil, and I was lucky enough to, not lucky, but I was making my own work at night, and one of his friends, John Rush, was the senior sculpture professor at University of Michigan, and he saw me creating a body of work over 10 years, and he said, you should apply to U of M grad school for sculpture, and I'm sure they'll take you, and of course, because he was one of the people making that decision. But once I graduated from the University of Michigan, I then applied probably 40 or 50 schools across the country for a teaching position, because I felt at that point I had something that I could share, I had something that I could teach. I didn't know very much coming out of undergraduate school, but after 10 years of doing my own work and then going to graduate school, I felt I had something to offer, and hopefully I bring that to my classes.
Gary was a very honest professor. If he didn't see progress going forward with the project that you're on, he'll tell you straight up.
He's very, critiquey in that way.
Because I want it to be beyond just the materials. I want them to be able to look at something, and they do preparatory drawings, and then respond to it and create something that has a subject that they start out with.
Gary will always help you, and he makes you feel like you're important. I have a really hard time asking questions. I have a really hard time admitting that I don't know what I'm doing or what's going on. And Gary is one of the only teachers who, every time, no matter what I'm asking him, I know that he will answer me, and I know that he'll be respectful about it and not make me feel like I'm less than because I don't know something, and I really appreciate that.
Out of all of those schools I applied to, I got 2 offers. One was at the University of Ohio in Southern Ohio, and the other was Olivet, and I interviewed at both places, and both places offered me the position, and I decided to come to Olivet for a couple of reasons. Actually, it was less pay and more work than the University of Ohio, so those couple of reasons really meant a lot to me. One was that it was a small institution. University of Ohio was big. There's a lot of art faculty, and it was a big school. I had come from a large school as an undergraduate, Brooklyn College and University of Michigan, but I wanted to teach in a smaller environment. When I interviewed here and I saw the town, and Professor Don Rowe took me into Marshall, and I thought, wow, this is a lot like New England. This is a lot like where I was in Connecticut. It's a small town living, really intimate, and so I felt more comfortable here. And that's why I've stayed for my whole career.
I'm from Michigan, and I was not exactly excited about staying in Michigan. I wanted to go somewhere else. And he was accepted at a better paying job. I wanted him to take that job just because I didn't want to stay in Michigan. But he took this job because he connected with the campus and with Don Rowe. He was the head of the art department at the time, and he just liked him so much. He just felt so at home and like he could make a home here. And yeah, he made this choice, and I reluctantly followed him here, but gosh, I'm so attached to this area.
The first piece that I did for the college is called Oak Cycle, and it sits between the north side of the Kirk Center and the south side of Dole Hall. And that was commissioned by the then President Don Tusky, and it was to honor the people who gave to a major campaign. He wanted to put a sculpture up, something permanent, and on the pedestal on which the sculpture sits are sandblasted into the stone are all the names of the major donors. And the subject matter, it's called Oak Cycle. It's sort of the cycle of an oak tree. And for me, the oaks obviously have a lot of meaning to this institution. It's all over the place. I decided to do, it's a series of acorns that are on a base. And the acorns, if you look closely, are different sizes. There's sort of a young nubile acorn, which is kind of much flatter, not quite as full. There's a much fuller acorn on there. And then there's an acorn that has buried its root and the sprout is starting to come up. So you're getting the idea of this acorn born, reaching maturity, and then itself creating another tree. But the main part of that sculpture are 3 leaves, and they're sort of, they're arranged in a triangular format, so the leaf that faces the front is a full leaf on its point, and they kind of, it's like a tripod. There's 3 leaves that meet at the top, and it's sitting on its point, and then when you go to the leaf on the right, the leaf is starting to collapse and fold, and then the leaf in the back is curled as though the leaf is dying. So you have the cycle of the leaves from full leaf to reaching, going into the fall, late summer, into the fall where the leaf is sort of folded up and reaching its end. So I tried to capture the idea of the cycle of the oak without just another, typical oak thing. And then the second commission, which was commissioned by Tom Kalasa, who was at that time the chair of the Board of Trustees at the university, he wanted a piece that that would be inspirational to students, and so I did a mock-up of it, which is, I don't know if you can see it, but behind me the acorn, the bronze acorn, which is what's out on the campus, and that's a combination of the two materials. The idea with that is that to do a sprouting acorn, but have it sprouting out of a very rocky environment, so it's not really very fertile soil, but it's a tenacious acorn that really is going to dig in and it's going to make it because of its tenacity, because of its wherewithal. It's committed to being successful, and so the acorn in that sense goes beyond just an acorn and speaks to for all of us the idea of tenacity and being able to see something through, and hard work and an accomplishment through hard work. It's a piece I'm proud of. It's one of my larger pieces. I tend to work small and on an intimate scale, and so it's nice to have something large outside. And again, this will probably be here long after I'm not, which is nice. Hopefully people many generations from now will appreciate it. It's also nice to walk by and see acorns sitting on it from the actual tree itself. So it really resonates with the site that it sits in. The mace. The mace happened when Professor Corey, he called me in his office and he said, you know what? We should have a mace for this institution.
One of the things that we thought about was, many institutions do have a ceremonial mace that they use, and we don't. And this might be a really fun thing to do that would be enduring on into the future as a commemoration of that important part of Olivet's history. I sat down with Gary and an alum, Eric Witzke, who also was an employee here for a long time and is quite an artisan in his own right. And we began to talk about the concept of a mace and how we might go about crafting one that could be representative of the things that are really important to us as a college community. And so it was really a co-creation, and I give Gary and Eric much of the credit for the ultimate design of the mace.
So on the top of the mace is a flame in bronze, which was my contribution. The lamp of learning and the idea that knowledge burns bright. And so it's a flame in 3D where it goes from being kind of dark at the bottom, and then as you get to the tips of the flame, they're polished, so they kind of glint. And Eric, what we decided was that the upper part of the mace would be combined materials of wood of different colors to represent diversity and how the college embraces diversity from its very beginning. And so he chose different woods of different colors to represent that. And then the top part of the mace, which is a cube of oak, is from the library, one of the old library that was raised to put up the new library. Those doors, he had a piece of oak from one of those doors. So a piece of that mace is actually from the original campus, and then the wood is symbolic and the flame is symbolic as well. So it's wonderful to see that trotted out every now and then.
Of course, Gary is getting ready to begin his phased retirement. He's been here for quite a long time and is the senior-most professor. I think when we think about the legacy that Gary is leaving here, I think we can think about the tangible items that remain on campus, the sculptures and other pieces of art that he's crafted himself. I think we can also think about the other tangible art that his students have created and reside all over. I think the other thing, and probably the most important thing to acknowledge, and I suspect Gary would agree with me, is that as significant as some of those works are, and they are, and as enduring as they will be, and they will be, it's probably the people. It's probably the people that he's impacted that is the real legacy that Gary leaves.
I would thank Gary for helping me and for encouraging me through my 4 years of Olivet, especially because my first 2 years, I was a biology major with a visual arts minor, and I was really considering transferring because I was having a very hard time just finding where I fit in here and feeling like I should stay here. And then I switched to the art department, and all of the professors in the art department, Gary, all of them, they all really helped me figure out find my place here and want to stay and to really enjoy Olivet. And I would definitely thank them, for specifically Gary too, for all of that.
Thank you for making me a better art student today.
Just thank you for helping me grow up, not just as an artist, but as a person. He helped me to grow as a person, to grow into my art, and to feel confident in what I'm doing. And I think that that's something that I could never repay him for. I used to be terrified to share my art. I didn't want anybody to know what it looked like or what it meant. And now I want to tell everybody, including Gary, all the time.
We are always saying, we're so lucky. We're so lucky to have worked together, to have built our life here in this old farmhouse and raised kids and had good neighbors and good friends here, just really good people. Met a lot of good people, and the students. I mean, I have good friends who were students, and they mean so much to us, to both of us.
This stuff is going to be here long after I'm not, hopefully. You know, I won't be here, but hopefully the pieces on campus and the mace will be around for as long as the university is. So I'll just be a footnote somewhere there, but the objects will be here.